Hi everyone, welcome to Visual Studio LM video series. So in this video, that is work item customization part 2, we'll discuss more about work item customization. So in part 1, we have discussed about how to import export work item type, how to create a field, how to create a drop down, and we saw the different ways to import and export work item definition, that is using Visual Studio process editor and using command prompts. And also we saw how to edit the work item type definition using Visual Studio and using notepad++. So in this video we'll go to the next step, that is how to create states, how to define states and transitions. So in this video we'll see how to create a new state called as review, and transitions, that is in progress to review and review to done. So we'll add a state and transitions. Along with states and transitions, we'll also see how to apply conditions or rules. Like for example, create a field called as category, that is company category, and make it required in to do state. That is whenever we create a new task, it should be required. And also we'll see how to make the same field category as read only when it comes to review state. So these are state based conditions. Then we'll see one transition based conditions, like when we are moving the work item from one state to another state, we want to make a certain field as mandatory, that is required. And also some are group based conditions also, like for example, we want certain states to be available only to certain groups. For example, here we want to make from in progress to review transition only for reviewer group. So, and also we want to create dependent drop down fields, like we want to have a company category field, then a subcategory field. Then we want to see when we select category 1 in company category, the subcategory field should have these values, plus when you select category 2, it should have these values, or when we select category 3, it should have these values. So we'll see all these things step by step how to do in this video. So first let's define these fields and the transitions. So let's open Visual Studio, then open the work item. So before that, let me show the work item here. So we will be working on the custom task that we defined in part 1 video. So in the previous video, you would have seen how to define a custom field called as company name. Okay, so this is a custom task. So let's work on this task, modify all the other things, and import back to TFS. So let me open it in process editor. So it has got a field called as company name. So let's define some more fields. One is company category. So let me define this field, company category. Let me copy the reference name. Let me define a new field with the reference name as company category and the name as, so this is the name of the field and this is the reference name, and let it be string, and I want it to be dimension because it's a drop down value, it will have fixed values. So let me go to the rule section here, then define the drop down values. So I'll select allowed values and click on new. So I want to have these values, that is category 1, let me just copy this, category 2 and 3. So I've got the field company category. So let me define it in the layout. So let me preview the form here, and I want to put it after area. So yeah, so here is the area control. Let me define a new control here, then give it a name. Let me say category, then select the field reference, that is nagaraj.common.company category, and that's it, it's done. So you can see it is available here. So let me save this. So it's called as custom task and it is available in task1.xml file. So let's import that. So let me go to custom task now. Now we will be able to see a new field also with the values category 1, 2, 3. So we have defined category. Let's define subcategory. So I'll again create a new field and let me choose the reference name here. So and the field name, let it be dimension. So here we'll define different rules. So I'll select when condition here. So when company category value is category 1, then it should have these values, that is subcategory 1.1, okay, and even we can define a default value also. So let's select a default value also from value, and the value should be 1.1. So if you want to view it in XML, it will be like this. So you can see subcategory with its reference name, type, reportable, then condition when the company category value is category 1, then it should have all these values. And the default is subcategory 1.1. So similarly, we have to define many more conditions, that is when conditions. So let me click again new, when company category, and company category is called category 2, then it should have allowed values as subcategory 2.1, subcategory 2.2. So you can define many values like that, and even you can define default values also. I can have one more condition. When category is 3, rules, allowed values, so this is done. So we have got all the 3 subcategories completed. So let me click on OK now. Then I'll go to the layout section. Maybe after category I want to display subcategory, so I'll go to new control, then select subcategory here, and the name also I'll say subcategory, the label name. So subcategory also is done. So let me go to fields. So we have got company categories and subcategories and company name. So let me click on save this. Then let's import this. And I create a new custom task. Yeah, we could see these things. And let me say testing custom task. And let me select category 3 here. Then in the subcategory, I can see category 3.1. And let me select category 1. And you can see automatically subcategory is chosen. So this was the default rule what we created. If I select category 2, and you can see there is no default, but yes, 2.1 and 2.2 are available. So these are different drop downs. So we can have drop downs in many ways, right? Like states and under state cities or countries and under countries states. So dependent drop down list we can create. So this is done now. So let's go back to this agenda. So we have done this. So let me start creating a state now. So review state. Okay, so before that let me show you that we have got a group called as the reviewer. So let me go to the security tab here and you can see a reviewer. So under reviewer we have a member and member. So we got a reviewer group also. Okay, let me go back. So we want to create a state. So let me go to the XML part here. So let me try to modify an XML rather in the workflow. Okay, so task1.xml file, let me open that. So this is my custom task work item and we have got company category and subcategory with different conditions. So we also got a company name here. So these are the custom fields we have created. So let's go and create a state. So coming to the state, so workflow section. So this is the field section here, so which has got all the fields. So let me minimize that. Let's go back to the workflow section. So we have got states. So one is state to do. So let me just copy this and create a review state here. So let me name this as review and okay, fine. So now we have got conditions. So when it is in review state, category field should be read only. That is company category field should be read only. So let me just copy this. So this field should be read only. Okay, and one more condition was when it is in to do state. Okay, fine. So now we have got the state. Now let's define the transitions. And before that, okay, anyway, we have in to do state. Let me create this condition also. When it is in to do state, this should be required. Okay, so this field will be required, that is mandatory when it is in to do state. So I have to just say its tag as required. Okay, now let me define the transitions. So the transition should be in progress to review and review to done, and whereas in progress to review it should be only for reviewer group. So let me just copy any of these transition and say let this be in progress to review. We can give the default reason as to be reviewed, and in progress to review should be only for reviewer group. So there are some conditions like for or not. So for reviewer group, so you just mention project. So that is the team project to which we import. So project slash reviewer group. So we can either define for and or, I mean we can define both not and for. So we can even say okay, this transition is for reviewer group, or we can even say is allowed for every other group except certain group. So in that case we can use not. Okay, so we have done this also. Now next state, from review to done. So let me copy this. So from review to done. So we'll just keep the default reason as work finished and rest of the things same, and make a field mandatory when review to done. So we want to make certain field as mandatory. Okay, let's say we want to make a field we'll make field company name as mandatory, that is required. Okay, so we have done this also. When it is review to done, we want company name should be mandatory, and in progress to review is only for reviewers, and when it is in review state, company category should be read only, and when we are creating a new task, that is in to do state, company category should be required. So we have completed this section. Then we created a state, then we did the transitions, that is in progress to review and review to done. Then we added these state based conditions, then we added a transition based condition and also group based condition. So let's import this. Before importing, let me open this and show it to you. So let me open it in process editor, open the file task1.xml, go to workflow, and you can see, okay, so it has to be arranged properly, and you can see a new state called as reviewed. And if you see here, so there's a company category and rules is read only, and the transition, this is from to do. Okay, there is one more transition. Yeah, so this is in progress to review certain fields. Yeah, reason to be reviewed. Then from review to closed, so this is from review to done, and it has got these conditions. Let me click one by one. Close date, anyway it's there, edit rules, so it's required. So company name is required when we are doing from review to done. So it depends again. So I will feel comfortable doing all these states and transition in XMLs, and here even we can do it here, where we can go and say new transition, new state and transitions. The thing is, we should have a big screen and properly we can arrange it. Okay, so let me go and import this now. Import the work item, custom task. Okay, so it is successfully done. Let me refresh, create a new custom task. Custom. Okay, and you can see category has become mandatory now, that is in to do state accordingly. So is required when it is in to do state category, so it is required mandatory. So let me select category 1, and by default subcategory is selected. So company name is here, it's not mandatory, so let me click on save, and from to do to in progress. Let me click on save. Now I've logged in as Julia, so I could see from in progress to done, removed and to do, but we had a condition here that is in progress to review. It's available only for reviewer group. So let me connect to TFS as reviewer group and see the same work item, that is custom task 8 work item, what states I will see. Okay, let me open as Adam, because this guy is a member of reviewer group. So if you go here under security, so under reviewers members, so you can say add member. So let me just copy the URL. So I've logged in as Adamber. Let me search for task number 8, the same thing, correct. Now if I go here, you can see a new state also, review, and the reason to be reviewed. So this state is not available for other groups, it's available only for reviewers. So let me save it. Okay, now from review to be done, and we can see field company name cannot be empty, company name is compulsory according to what we defined here. Review to done, we made company name as mandatory. Okay, save and done. So what we saw is to create 2 drop downs which are dependent, that is based on the category, subcategory values will be published. Then we define a state called as review. Then we define 2 transitions, in progress to review and review to done. Then we define some conditions, rules. One is category field made as mandatory when we create a new task, that is in to do state, and the same category field is made read only. Okay, I didn't show you this, so let me create a task here, or let me go to the task 8, let me make it in progress. Okay, so from in progress, so here we can change category, right? So let me make it review, and we can see we can't change category field because it is read only. So like this we can have many rules based on different scenarios, and also we made a field as mandatory when closing the work item, and we made this transition for only reviewer group. So that's it for this video. So soon we'll come up with part 3, work item customization part 3, and discuss many more customization scenarios of TFS work items. And thanks for watching this video.